The morning sun spilled golden light across the quiet town of Maplewood, where everyone knew everyone else, or at least, they thought they did. At Maplewood High, laughter rang out in the hallways, not the joyful kind, but sharp, mocking laughter directed at a woman who stood at the front of her classroom. Mrs. Carter, soft-spoken, neatly dressed, her hair pinned back with a simple clip, looked like the kind of teacher who wouldn't hurt a fly. And that's exactly why the bullies thought they could get away with tormenting her. What they didn't know was that behind her calm smile and gentle tone was a woman who had spent 15 years working undercover with the FBI, taking down cartels, chasing fugitives, and facing danger most people couldn't imagine. The trouble began with a group of seniors who saw Mrs. Carter as easy prey. She was new in town, new to the school, and her quiet presence made her seem weak. At first, it was little things. Whispers during class, snickering when she turned her back, cruel jokes about her old-fashioned clothes. But soon, it escalated. They posted memes about her online, mocking her voice. They slipped notes onto her desk with insults scrawled across them. One even locked her classroom door from the outside, leaving her stranded in the hallway as students laughed inside. The administration brushed it off. Kids will be kids, the principal muttered, too busy with football games and budgets to notice the toll it was taking on her. Parents cared more about their kids' grades than their behavior. And so, Mrs. Carter stood alone. At least, that's how it looked. Inside, however, she wasn't afraid. She was watching. She was waiting. Old habits from her FBI days, the ability to read micro-expressions, track behavior, and stay 3 steps ahead, had never left her. These teenagers thought they were predators. But she had spent years studying real predators, men who would kill without hesitation. Compared to them, this group of bullies was nothing more than noisy children with inflated egos. Still, Mrs. Carter wasn't about revenge. She had left the FBI for a reason. After a mission had nearly cost her life, she wanted peace, a chance to teach and inspire instead of chase danger. But as the cruelty escalated, she realized something painful. If she didn't stand up, these kids would go on to hurt others. They needed to learn a lesson, not with violence, but with truth, humility, and a wake-up call they'd never forget. The breaking point came on a rainy afternoon. One of the bullies, Tyler, stood up in the middle of class and mocked her in front of everyone. "Hey, Mrs. Carter, maybe if you weren't so boring, we wouldn't fall asleep in your class." The laughter that followed was cruel and loud. For the first time, Mrs. Carter didn't smile it away. She set her pen down, folded her hands on the desk, and fixed her eyes on him. The room grew quiet. There was something in her gaze. Steady, unflinching, that none of the students had ever seen. When the students filed in, expecting another day of laughter at her expense, they were stunned to see her standing tall at the front, her voice firm, commanding in a way they had never heard before. She opened the box and held up the badge. Gasps rippled across the room. "I spent 15 years of my life with the Federal Bureau of Investigation," she said evenly. "I have hunted down people who thought they were untouchable. I have faced men twice your size and twice your cruelty. And I didn't come here to brag about that. I came here to teach. But make no mistake, your bullying, your cruelty, your games stopped today." The room was silent. For once, the bullies had no words. Their smirks were gone, replaced with wide eyes and uneasy shifting in their seats. But Mrs. Carter didn't stop there. She told them stories, not the dangerous classified ones, but lessons about courage, loyalty, and the real cost of arrogance. She spoke about criminals who laughed until their lives crumbled. She explained how choices, small choices, like kindness or cruelty, shaped futures. Her words cut deeper than any punishment ever could. For the first time, the bullies saw themselves through her eyes, and it terrified them. Over the next weeks, things began to change. Tyler, the ringleader, stopped mocking her. One day after class, he lingered behind and quietly apologized. Another student who had tormented her asked for help on a project. Slowly, the hostility gave way to respect. The rest of the school caught on too. Whispers about the FBI teacher spread, but instead of mockery, it carried a tone of awe. The administration, finally realizing what had happened, praised her for handling the situation with grace. Parents who had once overlooked their children's cruelty now called her with gratitude. But Mrs. Carter didn't care about the recognition. What mattered was that the bullies had learned something real, something lasting. Strength isn't in cruelty, it's in resilience, truth, and the courage to stand firm when it's hardest. In the end, Mrs. Carter became more than just a teacher. She became a legend in Maplewood High, not because of her past, but because of the lesson she left with every student who walked into her class: never mistake kindness for weakness. Sometimes the quietest person in the room carries the loudest strength. And in the quiet of her classroom, Mrs. Carter smiled, finally at peace. She had traded chasing criminals for shaping lives, and in her heart, she knew she had chosen the greater mission.